Hey, Krystal.
Hey!
Thank you for joining me on Truth Corner. It's been amazing that you and I can have these conversations now and be transparent and actually talk to people and give them our point of view of where we are now. So, question, where do you think we are now?
I would say we are actually in a much better place than we probably have ever been. Or I could say in our grown years, since a lot of the drama started. I was 18, now I'm 30. It's crazy. But I can say we are in a much better place. I believe our relationship has definitely gone through a ringer, but we're good. It's in a really, all I can say is like it's in a good place. There's no drama, there's no beef, there's no animosity, there's no like don't look at me. It's legit like if I see you like hey like and we actually talk about life, like everything that's going on in life. It may not be in super detail, but if we want to go into super detail we can. There's no like I don't know about that. But I think our relationship is in a really, really good place.
That's good. I feel the same. So I have a question, many questions.
Okay.
What is different now for you to feel or to let your guard down? Like, what do you feel has changed? Because, like, in the previous show, we talked about the back and forth, apologies, and how things were genuine. But what makes you feel like things are genuine this time?
I believe this time things are genuine. For me, I believe is when you apologize to my husband as well. That I think was more genuine. It was kind of like a 360 because I wasn't really prepared for that apology because we were at an event and we just so happened to be there. I didn't know you were coming, but I mean, I guess I should have known because of the person's house. But I wasn't expecting to have that conversation. I believe you and I were cool, but my husband was just like, nah, I'm not fooling with nobody. But because all three of us had the conversation, and I remember you went and asked me to go and get him, or if it was okay to for you to have a conversation with him, with me there. And at first I was like, huh? Like it kind of threw me off because I was kind of like, what? So I remember like, okay, let me go ask and see if he's in the correct mind space. And so he was kind of reluctant at first, and I was just like, yo, just hear it out. Like, there is not other people around us, like, for the drama to happen. And once I said that, he kind of threw his guard down just a little bit. He was like, okay. So when we went out and you kind of was just like, first off, like the first thing that you said was, I just want to apologize to both of y'all. And then when you said, I especially want to apologize to you because, this is your wife and I'm understanding, and you went into detail about everything and how you played your role and, and he stated how he felt about the whole situation. And, for him, it was tough for him because he wasn't fully there through the whole process. So he came in at a certain point where he's like, okay, from here I can defend, my wife. But for you to even acknowledge who he was and apologize, for the drama and his name being brought into it, he really accepted that because he's like, you know what, nobody else has apologized. So that's big for a person to come up and apologize and, you know, acknowledge like this is my part, and I played, you know, this role in the whole situation, and he was just like, she didn't have to do that. And I think for all of us, I think that's what was needed to even start having conversations, and like, not saying like we didn't have real conversations prior, but I think that was just like, it broke the ice. Like, okay, this is, I felt was really genuine. I don't think like it was any more back and forth that was gonna go on. And he felt more at ease about it. He felt more like, okay, if you want to build your relationship back up, I'm good with it. At first he was like, no, I don't want no parts. I don't want you to have no parts. Like, he felt like my protector, as a husband should be. But I think that was the part that was more like, okay, this is more genuine for all of us. And now y'all even joke around and talk and laugh, so it's just all like cool.
Okay, so how do you feel about being on this platform, telling your story and your truth for other young ladies to hear?
Ooh, that is a question. That's a loaded question. Well, it took me a minute. To be honest, I've never been a person that is in front of the camera, or you know, I can say I'm an open book. Like, if somebody came up to me and kind of asked me or asked questions of how I felt or anything like that, I'm very open about it. But when it came to this situation, I was very closed with a lot of stuff that I think happened between he and I, me and, you know, Shay. It was just a lot of closedness that I was just like, nah, because it was too much church drama that I was like, I'm not opening that door ever again. Like, and even then it really wasn't open because everybody was trying to figure everything out. But like we explained, I had my truth, she had her truth, and every truth was in there. So so for me to have this platform, it's different. It's very like, I'm letting people hear my voice about the whole situation that happened to me how many years ago, since I was 18. And I never spoke about it out loud like that. And so I think it's gonna help younger girls to realize that you shouldn't allow, whether it's a situation, a relationship, just people to mess up a bond that you have with a person. I think relationships are so important in life, whether whoever it is, a friend, relative, whatever the situation is. I think bonds are what makes us and it keeps us going in life. And so, especially for younger women, I think like the sisterhood, there's no sisterhood anymore. I think it's like you gotta kind of defend for yourself, look out for yourself. And I think for younger girls, especially now with social media, it's just like to the 10th power. Right. I don't think that a lot of women talk about certain things that happen to them. And I think with both of us actually sharing our truth and being honest about what has happened and the roles that we both played, because we both were not innocent in the roles. I can, you know, I was being spiteful at certain points, and you know, that's not my character. So for me to own up to whatever I've done, and for you to own up to whatever you've done for me, I think that's what kind of helped us actually rebuild and keep rebuilding and keep rebuilding. And now it's just like where we just being allowed to talk about it. Like, girl, I didn't know this happened. And we still, like, to this day, when we talk about certain things and we still kind of put stuff together whenever it comes out, we just like, girl,
right,
what were we
It's like
thinking?
the missing puzzle piece, like, what happened?
Exactly.
What can you give our viewers as far as like when it comes to forgiveness? Because my thing is, it's good that we are transparent in being forgiving,
Right.
but how do us black women, especially black women, it's like we are in competition with one another.
Ooh.
How can we get people to just let things go and teach other people how to have their own full circle moment with one another?
Ooh, that's good. I would say I'm going to use us as an example. We're both black women. We're both strong-headed black women. We have strong-headed black women mothers who have raised us and given us morals and understandings and everything like that. But I think because of their sisterhood, we had to go back and look at our sisterhood. You know, granted, they got their relationship back well before we got ours back. But once their relationship kind of got back, it was never, I'ma treat her different because that's, you know, her child, and my mom never treated you differently once they got their relationship back together. Like, I just think as far as black women, we just have to really understand where each other are. You have to meet people where they are. Stuff cannot be rushed when it comes to forgiveness. I think forgiveness takes time, and it takes a lot of conversations. Nothing just happens, I think, with one conversation. I think it takes multiple conversations. I think it takes both people having to reach out and kind of have an understanding of, like, you know, the olive branch that everybody says. I think both people have to want to rebuild, or to have like that conversation, a true conversation, and hear each other out. I think as far as black women, I think we get really defensive because we have to. And that's just in general, as black women, we're very defensive and we're very, I gotta protect myself. When sometimes you don't have to protect yourself, you just have to be able to hear what another person is trying to say to you. And I think it took us a while to get to that point, to actually hear each other out and actually have that understanding. So I think for us, with us wanting to actually build a relationship because we know we had a relationship prior, I would say forgiveness is very, it's a key to everything. Honestly, it's just a key. You're gonna constantly have to forgive people throughout life, like, period.
Right.
But I think as far as like with us and us both being black women, I think we both, like I said, we had to meet each other where each other was at. There was a point where you didn't feel like being forgiven, and there was a point where I didn't feel like forgiving you. And vice versa. There was a point where, you know, I wanted to forgive, but you didn't want to. You know, whatever the case was, we weren't meeting each other where each other were at. But once we did, we got an understanding of each other, and now we just we actually build each other up and don't even know it. Mm-hmm. We talk about, you know, our goals in life and what's going on in life, and there was a time where we would never have that conversation. Right. So I just think with true forgiveness, you know it, you feel it, you understand it, and I just think it's just a wonderful thing to just have. Right.
Okay, last question. Remember, or / comment, remember the pact we made as far as if someone comes to you about me, you shut it down, and vice versa?
Yes.
To keep the drama down?
Yes.
Can we agree that we realized it was more people adding fuel to the fire than our own selves about one another?
Yes, absolutely. Once we quiet the noise, and when I mean noise, it was noise. It was so much. It was, y'all don't even know. It was like pictures being sent. It was screenshots. It was she said this, he said that, you said this, you said that. It was just so much back and forth. But once we really was like, I'm over this, I'm over the drama. If somebody come to you and say I said this, just be like, I don't want to hear it. And once we really were just like, I don't want to hear it, it literally, like, I can honestly say I did not hear anything else after that. Whether I ignored it or I was just like, oh, y'all about to have this conversation? Y'all want to talk about this? Okay, I'm out. I removed myself because I never wanted anybody to be like, well, she was over there when we had to, I'm not in no conversation. I don't want to hear nothing. I don't want to know nothing. And I think that actually helped a lot because it allowed us to not hear what everybody else had to say, and we had to pay attention to us. Right. And our relationship and us rebuilding. So that was a huge pact that we actually decided to make, and I just think it just worked.
So in wrapping it up, yes, how do you ultimately feel about our full circle moment that we have?
The full circle moment, I just feel like it was a lot of weight that was lifted. I think once the forgiveness happens, the true forgiveness, because there was a lot of apologizing back and forth. I think once the true forgiveness happened, I think that's when both of us were really blessed. Like, there's no other word to say it. We were, I was blessed in my marriage. I was blessed in getting jobs. You were blessed in, elevating your life, and blessed in, other aspects of your life that was happening for you. And I just think when you come in full circle and when you acknowledge and you're able to truly acknowledge your part that you played, like, that is such a key to the whole thing. We both had to acknowledge, have these nitty gritty, ugly conversations that we probably never wanted to have, but we had to have the conversations in order for us to move forward. So to come in full circle, you gotta have these open conversations and these dialogues. But I'm so thankful that this time there was no arguments, there was no beef, there was no, girl, you lying. It was none of that. It was like, wow, I remember when this happened. Or dang, right around this time, this happened to me. Or this was going on during the exact same time. And it was never, we never downplayed each other's story. And I think for a long time we kind of were, because it was like, no, your story can't be the same as my story going around the same time. But it did. It happened. We acknowledged it. And now that we're in full circle, we're both grown. You got a whole kid. I got a kid on the way. Yay. And I just think that we are such grown women, Black women, trying to elevate our lives in all different aspects. And I just think with us coming full circle and being able to forgive, be in the same room, acknowledge each other, lift each other up, pray for each other. Let me tell you, when you can pray for somebody that you hated at a point, that's when I think you know that you have come in full circle.
Amen.
And I think for both of us, we can both say,
preach, sister.
I did not want to pray for you because I literally remember I was like, she's not worth my prayers. I literally said that, and that is not the right thing to ever say, but that was my truth. But once I came in full circle, I'm like, you know what, Lord? Even when she was going through her divorce, I was just like, you know what? Lord, just guide her, have mercy, Whatever came to mind, that was how I knew I was actually coming in full circle, and I actually forgave, and this is before we even had the conversation. So I just think now that we in full circle, it's like, I don't really think anything else can break this bond anymore because it's been through so much. So I think with us just being in full circle, it's like, what's up? That's our truth.
That is our truth, and we are sticking with it.
We are sticking with it.
I want to say that I definitely appreciate you for doing this for me, these shows. And I always tell you, like, I owe you my life. You know? So I put you through so much hell. But I thank God that you gave me the opportunity to forgive me so I can move forward in peace too as well, and not feel like I have to live with the horrible moments of my past, right?
Yeah.
So I just want to say I love you, and I thank you.
I love you too.
You're awesome. And in saying that, this is our truth.
Truth.
We love y'all. Hug it out.
My baby.
Yes, that's our truth, and we're sticking with it.
Sticking.
And we are out.